Hello and welcome to Pro Trader Strategies Market Commentary for Friday, December 1st. My name is Eric Wilkinson. Some of you may recognize me as the Wolfman from CNBC, Fox Business, or even the Wall Street Journal for my commentary on everything from economic to geopolitical and market analysis. Please keep in mind that everything that we talk about in these market commentaries is not a solicitation to buy or sell any of these securities or strategies. At the end of the day, we're here to teach you some different strategies that you can implement into your portfolios, but please do that in your own way. The reason why I can't give you a recommendation on a particular stock or strategy is because I don't know your risk parameters. I don't know what's in your portfolios, and therefore what I'm doing could be counterintuitive to what you are already doing. And please remember, the past performance of any trading system or methodology is not necessarily indicative of future results. Having all that out of the way, let's get it on. Friday, December 1st, Unenjoyment Friday? No, not this Friday, not this first Friday of the month. Well, what will happen every now and again is when they don't have enough time to compile the economic data for the previous month, they bump that out one more week. Being that there was a holiday for Thanksgiving and December 1st is the first Friday, they haven't had enough time to compile the information for the non-farm payroll, so it is moved to next week. So that out of the way, let's get the rest of the economic data out here. Let's say French final manufacturing PMI came in at, the French final manufacturing came in at 57.7. The German final manufacturing PMI came in at 62.5. Anything above 50 is expansion in the overall economy. And then Spanish manufacturing PMI came in slightly lower than expected at 56.1, expected to be 56.6. And then Great Britain manufacturing PMI came in at 58.2, expected to be 56.2. So a lot of good economic data. Final manufacturing PMI for the European region came in at 60.1, in line with expectations there. Then here in the United States, we got our final manufacturing PMI came in at 53.9, but the more important number to look at is the ISM, which is the Institute for Supply Management Manufacturing PMI, came in at 58.2, expected to be 58.4, so pretty much in line with expectations there. One surprise to the upside was construction spending month over month came in at 1.4%, expected to be 0.5%. And then ISM manufacturing prices came in lower than expected at 65.5, expected to be 67. We have Harker speaking, and all day throughout the day we have total vehicle sales. So that should be tabulated and released at the end of the day. You'll get them kind of sporadically released throughout the day for each individual manufacturer. Then on to the overall markets. We've got crude oil up $1 right now, $1.03 for that matter. And then gold futures moving higher. This is going to be a bit of a flight to safety as the markets just took a massive tumble just a few minutes ago, maybe 20 minutes ago or so, based on some economic news that Michael Flynn came out and said that he lied to the FBI about talking to the Russians. So that has been a big issue. He could get, like, I think 10 years in prison, but Hillary Clinton lied to FBI and didn't get anything, so we'll have to see if that is actually going to happen. So the overall markets are looking at this in regards to President Trump's security advisor talking to the Russians, and was told to talk to the Russians by Trump. That caused the overall markets to tank. Not based on the fact that maybe Trump is necessarily going to get impeached or anything of that matter, but what we have going on in Congress right now is this huge tax bill, and that could throw a kink in that. And if that happens, then these corporations are going to get that tax cut, and that will affect their bottom line. So the market's been kind of really blasting off the last few days based on the fact that that tax bill is going to go through. This may put a dark cloud over that. So the overall markets fell out of bed for a little while, but have now since recovered. As you can see with the bonds, they were up over 2 points At one point, I even tweeted out, hey, FOMC to bonds, we're still raising rates. And the bonds continue to rally, but actually they're kind of giving off a little bit, but they have rallied quite a bit. We're only off about 10 ticks or so, but bonds with the economic data, even that I just talked about, is pretty good, and would have to say that the FOMC is going to look to raise rates, and it could even be as soon as December. I was looking for it to happen in January, but stranger things have happened. They don't mind raising rates around the Christmas season, whereas most FOMC have shied away from that. They don't want to crimp spending at that Christmas time. So, but this FOMC doesn't care. At one point here, you can see the VIX high was 1458. That's when the Dow was down over 280 points. Now those markets are recovering, and the VIX is going to start to come off. But one of the highest readings we've seen in the VIX in quite some time, basically since August for the most part. Maybe even September, August. Yeah, August. Anyway, this is the chart of the NASDAQ. As you can see, the NASDAQ was down quite a bit today. Let me pull this. Somehow the Dow Jones pulled up. Let's just look at the Dow Jones then. The Dow Jones, as you can see here, it's down 131 points, but at one point in time, if we look at it from the high to the low, we can see that it was down from 24,322 to the low was 23,921. So that actually is a lot more than what I was even seeing. That's over 300 points to the downside. So it got even worse after I kind of started flipping around, but now coming back quite a bit to down only 131 points. So taking back well over half of those losses. And then with the NASDAQ, as you can see, down 71 points, similar situation, right where basically Wednesday's low was, Thursday's open, and came right back down to that. So that's going to have to be looked at as a support area for the NASDAQ, support resistance. And just so happens to line up with the high volume node of the recent couple of weeks or months, or this month and last month. So that's going to be a key support resistance, or a magnet, if you will. Then on to the E-mini S&Ps, it's the same situation. They were down big as well, but now down only about 18 points as the market's kind of shrugging off that news of Michael Flynn testifying against or testifying that he was making false statements to the FBI. So that market's kind of getting shrugged off. They must be thinking that this tax bill is going to continue to go through. This is the daily chart of the E-mini S&Ps. As you can see, as soon as that was released, the overall market just took a bath to the downside, but has since snapped back. So market's kind of shrugging off that information now. On to a couple of things that I talked about yesterday, UPS and 3M. I stayed with these. I didn't do anything. The market just really got away from me a little bit too quickly for me to do anything, so I just decided to take a chill pill, if you will, and just kind of sit on my hands. Good thing, today's nice move to the downside was looking really good on that news when everything was falling out of bed, but has since come back. I am still right around my break even for UPS, so I'm going to hold off on that. This is the one that I was thinking about rolling those 105 puts up to the 120 puts and create a straddle. I'm going to hold off on that for right now, kind of wait and see what happens today throughout the day, because I'm just right there at my break even, so I'm going to kind of hold off, just playing the probabilities. Now 3M right there again, yesterday's blast off, I didn't do anything, thought it was just looks like it's overdone to the upside, especially with yesterday's move on no information for it. Has since come back down. It's a little bit above where my break even is right now, but 240 is the strike that I have on for these short the 240 calls. I think that we're going to see a little bit of profit taking coming back. If I can get out of this one for a scratch, I might just do that. And then the one that I did take off, I've only, these are the best trades ever, right? Is the ones that you just put on like less than 4 4 days ago, you guys, I was talking about MRK having a bottom and kind of wanting to move to the upside. Thought it was a little overdone, had high implied volatility. Volatility didn't really come out of it too much, but the market direction helped me out quite a bit. And since I went into the December, I got that real steep theta decay erosion, for lack of a better word, that I show it in these webinars. And the webinars, I show how theta really starts picking up right around this time. And I benefited from that. So I had the December, sold the 53 puts in there, which got me below, basically where I was looking at this as being a support. I didn't think it would go down there and retest it right away. May still be in the cards, but at the end of the day, I thought it was going to at least get a little bit of bounce. I mean, this is a big, huge move down to the downside. I'm not bullish necessarily on MRK, except for a very short term, which I talked about when I put this on, that it just looked like it got overdone to the downside, but not necessarily wanting to be bullish in MRK, but for this short little bounce. In that, today with this move higher, right off the open, basically, I got out of those 53 puts in the December for 15 cents. So made a nice profit, was more than the 50% of my max profit that I look for. And that was because I got that directional move today. All right. That's about it. Getting ready for the webinar today. It is going to be on the long calls, and we're kind of gearing this up for the entry-level trader. We're doing this series from the calls, long calls to long call spread, and then we're going to go into the puts and the put spread, and we're going to expand on these basic option strategies, and then kind of build up to a not necessarily a beginner, but maybe an entry-level person that's familiar with options, and then build on for you guys into the more robust or more advanced option strategies. So hopefully you can move along with this. If you get into this class right away, move along with us. You will be able to get all my rules and everything else for just about every single option strategy that I talk about. And you will basically be on the same page as everybody else, I guess. All right, so go check it out at protraderstrategies.com. That's all I got for you. If you can't take that, take it easy.